Today's episode of Fearless Chicks with Kari Heller.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm kicking off the holiday season. Got my red sweater on. Loving it. It's very cold here today. So I'm ready.
It's so nice to have be able to wear it too and just be like, yes, I'm embracing the holidays are here now.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so last week we finished talking a little bit more about complimenting and acknowledging others' positive attributes. And we talked about giving compliments. And then I was noticed, my cousin gave a challenge to give 5 compliments a day. And then so you and I kind of thought that was a nice challenge, but did you want to discuss our thoughts about that though?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea too, but then I think we have to be careful on making sure that they stay sincere. I think it's a great habit to get into, and I don't think you would have to look very far to find them. I just feel like, you want to still make sure that it's something that's genuine, not just out of habit, you don't even know you're saying it. So I mean, it's a great idea, and I'm going to start doing it.
I agree with you. I really like the idea too. And I think sometimes people could slip into being insincere, just oh, I got to get my 5 compliments in. But there's so many opportunities in any given day to give different people a compliment, just expression of small things. Like I was saying, I was driving through the McDonald's drive-thru, and the lady who gave me my coffee had super cool nails. I'm like, I love your nails. And it was very sincere, and it wasn't anything, major. So I think we'll implement that maybe as part of our strategies.
I agree. So if we recap, it's how you doing on talking to yourself in a positive way? How are you doing on being the first to compliment? Now we're going to add in do 5 compliments a day to someone. And like I said, I don't think it's hard to find them. It's getting in the habit of it having coming out of your mouth instead of just thinking it. And then I thought, and we discussed it a little bit earlier, is that sometimes I challenge myself oh, that girl she has a really cute hairstyle and it's blue. Now, does that sway you away from complimenting her, or does that make you more want to compliment her? Because I think it really shows your true self and how you represent yourself on the outer and your physical. And so I challenge myself to say, hey, I love your hair. And it's hard too because I think some people might think you're sarcastic. It's if you see someone running, it's on the same line. It's if you see someone running and you can tell they're struggling and you just want to yell out, go. But, they might think, oh, that was someone sarcastic, making fun of me. So it's a fine balance that we have to, try and accomplish.
And how do we get to the point too, where someone, a compliment is taken as oh, are they being insincere or are they not,
I know, it's unfair.
When we were talking earlier, you made a good point too when we were talking about complimenting blue hair and that. And sometimes we revert to that judgment of oh, they have their hair blue because they want attention. As opposed to kind of like you said, an expression of who they are and to compliment that because it's an expression of who they are.
Definitely. Yeah. So there's the challenges. Let's keep them going. It's not just, hey, this is the week that you want to, start to compliment, be the first one to compliment or do your 5. Get in the habit of doing all those things. You can't go wrong by talking positively about yourself, to yourself.
I agree. You're right. It's not oh, okay, I did that challenge. I talk positive myself. Oh, I complimented someone. It's we're kind of trying to build a new way of looking at interacting, especially with raising other women up. Maybe that's what it is.
Totally.
Including ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
So that leads to our discussion. I loved you came up with this topic, and I really love it. Do women apologize too much? And so why don't you dive into your thoughts on that first?
So, I know we're all busy. There's so many things where I feel we can have some statements in life be an unspoken statement, such as, I'm so busy. You know what? It doesn't do it anymore. We're all busy. And it might be busy in different ways. Some people can handle more things than others. And so, you can cut out the energy, take away that energy that you're wasting on apologizing for whatever it is and giving the reason why. And case in point is someone, texted me last night. And it wasn't even 24 hours that I had texted her. And she said, I'm so sorry it took me so long to reply. It's been such a crazy day. I mean, all of that could have been erased. Like, hey, thanks for reaching out. Like, this is my answer. Or, however we approach that. But I think our apologies, we don't need them. And I constantly am thinking, okay, this might be a situation where I would apologize, but I'm going to try to put a different word in there instead of I'm sorry. Like that night really doesn't work for me. And it's hard to explain. Like, what do you think? Like, how do you explain it?
I wonder, like, especially when you said that, like, I'm sorry, I can't make it, like, I think it's that sometimes we're trying to make everyone happy. Yeah, and so when you can't make someone happy, the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
And it's not, and it's not that, they don't even expect it. Like, if your friend just got back to you and said, here's the information you're looking for without the apology, well, if you were upset, that would have been on you, like, because you had expectations of her, and that shouldn't have been met.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And then,
Cindy apologizes every time someone's happy and displeased. Yeah, things that we don't. Oh, that's such a good point too. Like apologizing over things we have no control over.
Definitely. And then at that same time, let's try and figure out, like, is that meaning of I'm sorry or apologizing getting lost? And what are the situations where you genuinely need and really want to ask for forgiveness? Because I'm sorry means that you want forgiveness from someone.
You make a good point. Yeah. I told you, I looked into the science of apologies, and there was 6 points to make a sincere apology. And like one of them was forgiveness. So these were the 6. Express regret. So that would be like, I'm sorry. An explanation of what went wrong. Acknowledgement of responsibility. Declaration of repentance. Which again, that would be like not doing it again. Offer to repair. And request of forgiveness. And so like we would take your example about texting, getting your information. Like on some of the examples that would fall through, like she didn't need forgiveness from you.
Right.
She didn't need to repair anything.
Right.
She didn't need to like repent and say, I'll never take this long again.
Right.
Explanation of, but I think that's the other thing, this explanation of what went wrong. In her mind, maybe something was wrong, but those are the expectations of us trying to please other people, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you hit it right on the head. And I totally feel that there are genuine things that you really need to ask for forgiveness for. We are human beings who will constantly disappoint one another. And there's different levels of that. Some things I think that are appropriate to ask for forgiveness or say you're sorry, but there's others where, it's kind of like you kind of don't really care about how busy your day was. Even if it took her 2 or 3 days, that wouldn't have bothered me. And I know that that's different for a lot of people. So you can't bunch it up into one ball.
Yeah. Well, and Melissa here makes a point too, like, instead of saying, I'm sorry, say, please forgive me. Because then you really probably clarifying, does this situation require me to be forgiven?
That's a great point, Melissa. I love that. And then, so then it kind of makes you stop and think, is it an I'm sorry, or is it a please ask for, I need your forgiveness, or I'd like to ask for your forgiveness, which also taps into when you do ask someone for forgiveness about something that's deep and hurtful or needs repentance or whatever, it's up to that other person to forgive. That's a whole nother topic, right?
Yeah, that is.
Because people hold grudges and, for years over things that are misunderstandings or things, that are really, you can chalk up to being a human being. It was something that was wrong was said. We don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So another topic.
No, yeah, to accept. And I think when you were talking, when you were saying, made me think, like, sometimes I throw an apology out. It's more like a still like me, please. Like, please don't be mad at me. Please still like me. That kind of, Yeah. Or like when we ask somebody to do something for us, like, I'm sorry, but can you please just say, can you please? And in a nice way. And we were talking, both having sons, I find men and boys to be so different about this.
Yeah.
And I was driving my son home from a football game with a bunch of his friends, and he got really mad at one of his friends for like a legitimate reason. And it was so different than if I had a car full of girls. He, like, in front of all of his friends said, I'll use a fake name, Bob, why did you do that? I was so mad. Basically, I'm like, I think sometimes guys are really tuned into how to deal with conflict when there's communicating with it.
Yeah.
And his friend, like, I mean, oh my gosh. And I think I said, you should apologize. Or maybe you just need to be like, send him a nice text afterward. He's like, no, he was wrong.
Yeah. They're so much more direct.
Yeah.
So much more direct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to look up here. I looked up a few other notes on our topic here. It's kind of, the other thing that I just wanted to share was it's kind of like a Trojan horse of being genuine. Mm-hmm. You know, like sometimes when you're like mad at somebody or, you know, like, oh, I'm sorry about blah, blah, blah. And it's completely falls in our categories of apologies because you're not taking the blame. You're putting it on you. Like, I'm sorry you were late today, but Carrie was putting on her makeup, which was actually dumb of her. But, you know, it's so passive aggressive. So I was like, fake genuine to you guys. Oh, I'm sorry we're late, but, you know. Anyways, so we have a good, tough wrap-up question, which I'm not even prepared for an answer yet.
Sure. So I since we're talking about this, I thought it would be good, you know, we're kicking off the holiday season. We're starting to think about what we're thankful for. You're starting to see on Facebook people doing thankful for and having pictures. But what are you most thankful for about yourself? Jennifer.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm thankful for myself that I have the view of life that glass is mostly a half full. And even when I'm going through tough times, I think I really see like this is going to get better. You know, like in all aspects, like, you know, like some people look back and like, oh, high school was my best time ever, or college. And I'm really like my life, whenever a point I'm in, I'm like, this is my best point. Mm-hmm. And now when I'm in a difficult situation, you know, like going to the doors, I don't know if I always said it was my best point, but I think I wouldn't go back either. So I guess that's what I'm thankful that I can look forward and be really happy in the now.
Awesome.
How about yourself?
Mine is, I'm really willing, and I don't find this to be true with a lot of people, especially when they're on the other side of me, or in general with another person, is I'm willing to talk about things. Even if they're hard topics, or, you know, you're crying in the midst of it, or someone's been hurt and you're just trying to work it out. I'm willing to sit down and have a face-to-face conversation. And I'm thankful that I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard. And taking the time, the emotional energy, but sitting down and talking something out to have it be understood. Sometimes I'm a little bit overboard and I'm a little bit analytic and I really want to try and validate my point, and that's a past life issue for me that I really want to be validated and heard. But at the same time, I just really feel like as I age and as I go through life experience, I really feel like I have a calm outlook on life. And because we are all human and we are going to disappoint one another, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be disappointed. So you kind of like, you just evolve into this person where it's like, okay, you know, let's deal with that. Or just...
It seems like too, like I can really tell with you that when you talk to, sometimes when people want to talk, it's very passive aggressive, and you're just very open to, like let's deal with this. It seems like.
Yeah, so definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's see. We have one. I think Melissa. I'm thankful is that's a tough one. That's what she said. I thought she had an answer. Yeah. So we're going to challenge everyone this week to think over what you're thankful about yourself. I think it's an excellent question, Kari. I'm so glad that you thought of it.
Yeah, and I mean, these whole shows that we've been doing is like bettering yourself and piling one thing on top of another to be a better person and be better about relationships and be healthy emotionally. And I think they all tie in together. So when you compile all of them, it's really gratifying to see like your attitude change, your thoughts change, your ways that you talk to people change, all of that.
And I think like when you were saying that, I'm like, we need to write these up and like, you know, just kind of like an affirmation or way to live your life. And the fact is like, if it starts to become a habit, which is good because when you do fall down in any of these, like either self-judgment or not being kind to others, but it becomes a reflection or That's the right way to say it. We reflect back to it. You know, you bounce
Yeah.
back to this behavior once you
Yeah.
keep building on it.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what are we talking about next week?
I think we need to dive into healthy holidays. And I'm not talking about just eating. I'm talking about emotional. Like sometimes often, I shouldn't even say sometimes, this time of year is not the greatest time of year for everybody. So I thought we would talk about like, stress reduction or like doing what's right for you, not what the family expects. Indulging, but being, mindful of what you're doing because you don't want to pay for it in January. Like all that kind of stuff all wrapped into one.
And when you say that means relationships too.
Oh,
right?
totally.
Because you can pay for it in relationships in January.
Yeah, totally. Yes. So that'll be fun. I mean, that might be a 2-weeker, I think.
I think it will be a 2-weeker. You know, I just want to, I'm just tell you first of all, I'm just so grateful that we're doing this together. And again, this is another example where kind of social media, like we reached out to each other. I think you commented on one of my shows and I'm like, I'd love to have her. I'm really grateful. I think you bring such a great energy and thoughtfulness. So I'm so excited about it.
Thank you. I'm thankful too.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, you guys, see you guys next week.